In life, just like in a marathon, the ones who sprint blindly are the first to fall. The strongest don't rush. They endure. Today, at the 2025 London Marathon, the world's greatest runners proved something brutal and eternal. Victory doesn't belong to the fastest starter. It belongs to the one who masters himself longest. Through bold moves, silent suffering, and savage discipline, they showed the world what Stoic philosophers taught thousands of years ago. You control only yourself. You endure or you vanish. Walk this race with me. See how every mile mirrors the Stoic path. Enduring pain without complaint. Commanding yourself when the world breaks apart. Choosing perseverance when comfort screams your name. This is more than a race. It's a lesson in life, written in blood, breath, and broken dreams. Before we dive in, stop. Ask yourself, are you ready to confront yourself, not the world, not the race? If you're ready to endure, to own your discipline, to walk the Stoic path, hit like, drop a comment. I endure. Share this with someone who needs to stop sprinting and start enduring. Let's move forward, step by step, no illusions. 1. Endure without complaint. Kipchoge's example, Eliud. Kipchoge stood at the starting line not as a favorite, not as a king, but as a man chasing mastery in the twilight of his career. The cameras didn't favor him this time. The predictions didn't. The world had shifted. Still, he stood. The gun went off. The crowd surged. The race began. The early kilometers were brutal. Pace fast, air thick, pressure silent. Leaders emerged, young and fearless. They sprinted. They threw punches at the clock. Kipchoge didn't bite, didn't panic, didn't force. He held, he endured. Others chased moments. He chased principles. As the race unfolded, you could see it. He was running a different race, not against them, against himself. The front pack grew distant. The record drifted out of reach. The noise grew louder. He's done. He's old. He's human. Still he ran, shoulders steady, breath controlled, face neutral. He didn't signal defeat. He didn't beg for pity. He didn't collapse under expectation. He endured. When his legs screamed, he didn't negotiate with them. When his lungs burned, he didn't bargain. When the outcome became uncertain, he didn't fold. He accepted the moment. He remained disciplined inside chaos, not clinging to a win, not mourning a loss, running, purely, stoically, completely. You could miss the lesson if you only looked at the leaderboard. You could think endurance is about medals and applause. It's not. Endurance is about silence, about staying in motion when the world says stop, about staying composed when dreams crack under pressure. Kipchoge didn't endure because he would win. He endured because it was right to endure. This is what the Stoics taught. This is what they lived. Seneca wrote it without flinching. Sometimes even, to live is an act of courage. Kipchoge didn't win the race. He won his own soul. And if you're honest, you know that's the only real race that matters. Because endurance without complaint isn't weakness. It's domination of the self. When you fail and still rise, you win. When you lose and still endure, you conquer. It's easy to endure when you're winning. It's easy to smile when you're first. It's another thing to endure when the dream breaks, when the world stops cheering, when nobody notices your fight. That's when your real self shows. That's when the mask falls. Kipchoge's real victory wasn't on the course. It wasn't in the clock. It wasn't on the podium. It was In the invisible space between broken expectations and unbroken will, you don't need a medal for that. You don't need applause. You need something harder, unshakable clarity, unbreakable spirit. You will fall, you will fail, you will hurt. But if you endure without complaint, without theatrics, you win something deeper than titles. You win yourself. The Stoics knew. Kipchoge proved it. Pain is inevitable. Quitting is optional. Suffering is a choice. Control your response. Endure without complaint. And, in doing so, you become untouchable. The greater the difficulty, the more glory in surmounting it. Epictetus. 2. Control only what you can. Sawe's bold move. At the 30-kilometer mark, the race was chaos. The leaders bunched together, eyes watching, breaths shallow. Everyone waited for someone else to break first, waited for conditions to change, waited for a sign. Everyone, except Sebastian Sawe. He didn't wait. He moved. A surge, violent and clear, not asking, not negotiating, not wondering. He controlled what he could. His own legs, his own will. The others hesitated. They calculated. They second-guessed. Sawe didn't, because hesitation is the child of fear, and fear is the enemy of action. Stoics taught it centuries ago. Don't cling to what you can't command. Don't tie your fate to the uncontrollable. Focus only on your will, your effort, your character. Sawe's move wasn't about arrogance. It was about clarity. The weather didn't matter. The competition didn't matter. The future didn't matter. The only thing real was that moment, that breath, that step. Control only what you can, seize it with both hands, crush it. The field shattered behind him. Some tried to respond. Most couldn't. Why? Because when you spend miles worrying about everyone else, you lose yourself, you lose timing, you lose courage, you lose the edge. Sawe didn't lose. He didn't even blink. He knew. You don't control how others run. You don't control how fast the clock ticks. You don't control how the crowd cheers. You control your body. You control your mind. You control your strike. He made the move when he was ready. Not when the race felt safe. Not when the analysts predicted. Not when comfort whispered. When he owned the moment. He owned the race. The Stoics would have nodded in silence. Marcus Aurelius wrote it in stone. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Sawe didn't need the world to agree. He didn't need approval. He didn't even need certainty. He needed his own will. That was enough. Because when you move boldly, the world either follows or falls. The others, they blinked, they waited, they lost. Control only what you can. Move when you can, forget the rest. You won't get permission. You won't get guarantees. There will be doubt. There will be critics. There will be silence. Good. Move. Anyway, Sawe's surge wasn't just a physical move. It was a declaration. I am not here to react. I'm here to command myself. Most people live their whole lives reacting. Reacting to moods, reacting to markets, reacting to gossip, reacting until there's nothing left of them. Sawe didn't react. He acted. Action without fear. Action without apology. Because life will never hand you perfect conditions. There's no such thing. Waiting for perfection is waiting for death. You act in imperfection. You strike through uncertainty. You dare when others flinch. At 30 kilometers, He wasn't the strongest. He wasn't the favorite. He was the most certain, and certainty breaks mountains. Certainty bends races. Certainty wins wars. When he surged, the race broke open. Not because others were weak, but because he was willing to act while others were still thinking. Thinking is good. Overthinking is fatal. You act, you adjust, you endure, but you move. Sawe's lesson is brutal and clean. Control only what you can. Own it fully. Move without hesitation. Because hesitation is death. Waiting is death. Fear is death. Courage lives in the man who moves first. Discipline lives in the man who controls his own strike. This is not just for runners. This is for you. In business, in battle, in love, control only what you can. And when your moment comes, take it so hard that the world has no choice but to catch up or collapse. First, say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. Epictetus. 3. Pain is temporary, discipline over comfort. The final miles were war, not a race, not a celebration, a war. The bright early strides, gone, the smooth breathing, broken, the perfect posture, shattered. Pain entered like a thief, silent, total. It didn't ask for permission, it didn't make announcements, it just arrived. Inside every step, every thought, every doubt. The contenders felt it. The leaders wore it. The crowd sensed it. Legs locked, vision blurred, hope flickered. This is the real marathon, not the first mile when everyone smiles, not the halfway point when dreams still feel light. The real race lives in the breakdown, the part no one trains you for, the part no medal can erase. Sawe pushed, Kiplimo pushed, a few others too, but not many. Most collapsed inside themselves, quietly, fatally. Pain demands an answer. Comfort begs for surrender. The weak obey. The disciplined command. This is where discipline shows. When the muscles fail, when the brain begs to quit, you either listen to comfort or you silence it. Pain says, stop. Discipline says one more step. Pain says you've done enough. Discipline says you haven't begun. Pain says fall down. Discipline says stand up. The body cries. The soul decides. Stoics lived here, not in the comfort of theories, not in the luxury of words. In the raw final miles of human endurance, Seneca knew it. We suffer more often in imagination than in reality. Pain is real. Suffering is a choice. You can feel pain. You must. It's the price of existence. But suffering, that endless negotiation that collapse into excuses, is optional. Those who finished strong today didn't erase pain. They carried it like a shield, carried it like a fire. Pain sharpened them. It didn't own them. Comfort is a liar. It whispers when you're weakest. It promises safety and delivers decay. Stay with comfort. Rot. Stay with pain. Rise. Every mile past 30K was a question. Will you fold? Will you make peace with mediocrity, or will you demand more from yourself when nothing remains to give? That's discipline, not routines, not slogans. The quiet violence of doing what must be done when you least want to do it. The body. Says enough. You reply, not yet. Pain grows louder. You grow colder. Discipline isn't loud. It isn't pretty. It isn't even heroic. It's the refusal to abandon yourself. Look at the final miles today. Who stayed composed? Who stayed fierce? They weren't the biggest. They weren't the freshest. They were the most disciplined. Sawe didn't glide. He grimaced. He suffered without collapsing into it. Kiplimo didn't cruise. He fought for every inch. He didn't surrender to the voices, screaming inside his own skull. They didn't have a choice about pain. No one does, but they had a choice about discipline. You have it too. In your darkest hour, in your longest race, in your deepest pain, you will feel it. The pull. To quit, to excuse, to betray your own potential. Pause there, breathe there, fight there. Because after pain, there's something waiting. It's not relief. It's not applause. It's a version of yourself so hard, so clear, so untouchable, even pain bows. But only if you refuse to quit when quitting feels natural. Only if you endure when every cell in your body votes against you. This isn't about victory over others. It's victory over your own weakness. Win. And no loss will break you again. Discipline over comfort. Always. Especially when it hurts the most. If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment. Marcus Aurelius. 4. Focus only. On the next step, ignore the finish line. At mile 5, the finish line was a lie, too far, too unreal. You don't think about mile 26 when your lungs already burn at mile 5. You don't stare at the summit when you're still bleeding at the base. You survive by shrinking the war. One step, one breath, one battle at a time. That's how the strongest ran today. Not obsessed with the end. Not fantasizing about medals. Rooted brutally in the present. Right here, right now. One step, then another. That's it. The ones who cracked early were the ones who thought too far ahead, who imagined how much it would hurt, how impossible it would feel later. They drowned in futures that hadn't even happened yet. Stoicism knew this, knew it without hesitation. Epictetus carved it into our bones. First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do, not what you might have to do later, what you have to do now. The finish line is none of your business. The crowd, the cameras, the clock, none of it is real yet. Only this step is real, only this breath, only this fight. Marathoners who last understand this. The mind breaks first, not the body. Dreaming too far ahead weakens the spirit. Thinking about all the miles left, it crushes you before the road does. Sawe knew it. Kiplimo knew it. The warriors today knew it. Focus too wide, you panic. Focus too far, you quit. Shrink the battle. Step, breath, fight, repeat. When the body begged for mercy, they didn't think about 26.2 miles. They thought about the next footfall, the next inhale, the next heartbeat. Victory belongs to those who master small moments, small despairs, small wars. You conquer enough small moments, and you conquer the whole race, not by grand gestures, not by emotional surges, by relentless disciplined focus on the smallest next thing. One step, this discipline separates the real from the fake, the strong from the showy, the stoic from the spectator. It's easy to dream big. Anyone can. Big dreams cost nothing. Small disciplines cost everything. The path isn't glamorous. You don't get applause for enduring your 12th mile in silence. You don't get cheers for choosing one more painful step instead of quitting. But the small disciplines are the real crown, because they build a mind that doesn't break. A mind that says, this step is hard. Take it anyway. This breath burns. Breathe it anyway. This fight feels endless. Fight it anyway. Ignore the noise, ignore the fantasies, ignore the finish line. Focus only on what you can touch right now. The next step, the next task, the next choice. That's how mountains are climbed. That's how marathons are conquered. That's how lives are built. One brutal, thankless, beautiful step at a time. The weak dream of arrival. The strong master the process. Process without shortcuts. Process without delusion. Process without mercy. The finish line will come when it's ready. You don't chase it. You don't beg it closer. You build your way to it. One step, one breath, one battle. If you do that long enough, the impossible becomes inevitable. Focus is a weapon. Precision is a shield. Use them, because drifting destroys men. Daydreaming kills dreams. Stay sharp. Stay present. Stay ruthless with your attention. The next step is all that's real. Own it. Dominate it. Forget the rest. Do not waste what remains of your life in speculating about others. Instead, be concerned only with how you may carry out your own actions with justice and discipline. Marcus Aurelius. 5. Strength reveals itself. In adversity, true character is seen in the storm. At the front of the London Marathon, by the last brutal stretch, the field broke apart. It always does. The early smiles disappeared. The easy strides collapsed. The illusions shattered. What remained was raw. No titles, no reputations, no promises, only truth. Strength doesn't reveal itself in comfort. Strength doesn't show when the road is smooth. Strength is exposed when the storm hits. Today, you saw it, you felt it, the pretenders cracked, the showman folded, the strong endured, not with elegance, not with grace, with gritted teeth, with broken bodies that refuse to kneel. The camera sees finish lines. The real battle happens before that, in the mile where hope dies, in the step where muscles scream, in the silence when no one is watching. That's where strength either rots or rises. Adversity doesn't build character. Adversity reveals character. It strips away every story you tell yourself, every excuse you cling to, every decoration you wear. And what's left is you. Naked. Undeniable. Today, when the storm came, the weak pretended it wasn't happening. They slowed, they faded. The strong did not pretend. They did not ask for fairness. They did not look for a softer road. They embraced the collapse. They smiled at the impossibility. They took one more step. When the step had no reason left but will itself. This is Stoicism, not neat words, not fake peace, ruthless clarity in chaos. When the storm breaks your plans, you stay unbroken. When the road takes your dreams, you walk anyway. Seneca understood. It is not that we are given a short life, but we make it short. Strength isn't given, it's seized. In moments like this, when the race falls apart and you refuse to, when the future burns and you plant your feet anyway. Today, the winners weren't just fast. They were ruthless with themselves. They didn't negotiate with pain. They didn't flatter comfort. They didn't worship results. They chose discipline over ease, courage over fear, principle over pleasure. When bodies collapsed around them, they didn't gloat, they didn't flinch. They focused. The storm is coming for you too. Maybe today, maybe tomorrow. Your plans will fail. Your dreams will bend. Your strength will be questioned. Good. The storm reveals what comfort hides. It shows you who you are when nothing is left but will. You don't need a plan for that. You don't need a perfect strategy. You need a spine. You need a soul disciplined enough to walk forward when forward is the hardest direction. No applause, no guarantee, no rescue. Just you facing the storm and deciding, I will not fold. I will not excuse. I will not retreat. Strength isn't looking impressive. Strength isn't feeling good. Strength is bleeding inside and walking forward anyway. It's running the last mile, like it's your first. It's holding your principles when they cost you everything. It's enduring collapse without collapsing yourself. Today, the marathon wasn't about who had the best start. It wasn't about who looked the strongest on paper. It was about who kept going when everything sane inside them said stop. That's how Stoics live. That's how warriors survive. Not by avoiding storms, by becoming storm-proof. You don't control the collapse. You don't control the storm. You control the refusal to be owned by it. Own your response. Own your step. Own your fate. Strength is revealed or lost when adversity arrives. Choose who you will be before it does, because when the storm comes, it's too late to negotiate with yourself. Difficulties strengthen the mind as labor does the body. Seneca. The 2025 London Marathon wasn't just a race. It was a battlefield, a mirror. It showed you the truth, endurance without complaint, control without illusions, discipline over comfort, focus over fantasy, strength through adversity. You saw it in every broken step, in every silent battle, in every runner who refused to quit. That's the Stoic path. That's the only path that lasts. When your storm comes, remember this race. Remember who kept moving when the dream collapsed. Remember who endured when comfort screamed. And remember, the world doesn't owe you an easy finish. It only gives you the chance to endure. Take it. Own it. Become unbreakable. Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. Marcus Aurelius.